Virginia Governor Ralph Northam has declared a state of emergency last week amid fears of potential violence at today's pro-gun rights protest here in Richmond, Virginia. Thousands of Virginians and Americans across the country are rallied up here today to protest the gun rights posed by Democrats.
Just last week, Virginia lawmakers in the Virginia Senate have passed 3 gun measures sent to the House for consideration. The 3 bills include requiring background checks on all firearm sales, limiting gun purchases to a 1 in a 30-day period, and allowing localities to ban guns from public events.
I'm actually here with Anthony from New York at today's gun rights protest. So really quick, Anthony, I just want to get your thoughts. Why are you here today?
Because I support the Constitution of the United States of America, specifically the Second Amendment, but it's very important to me.
What was your reaction when Governor Ralph Northam of Virginia, he declared of a state of emergency, which is banning firearms from the Capitol grounds, which you and me are on right now? What was your reaction when you heard that news?
I felt like he was picking on this group specifically, trying to suppress our voice and not let it get out there because it's against what he believes in. You know, I feel like if Antifa or some other kind of group was out here today protesting, even though they are known to be violent, right, and this rally has happened for years, and it's always been armed here on these grounds, and they've never had any issues, he would have allowed it to go on. If it was for known extremists, he would have allowed it to go on without these cages, without searching us as we come in here. But since he's against our cause, he wanted to suppress us. He didn't want it to be the turnout that it is today.
No, Andy, I'm not sure if you were reading any mainstream news headlines before today's rally, but there was, rumors of violence planned, white supremacists here. For you not being here in this rally, can you just describe the environment for people back home who are not here?
I've been getting handshakes from plenty of white people. I haven't seen one white supremacist here. I haven't seen anyone doing anything that's, I don't even think it would be tolerated here. I'm not going to say that they're not here, but that's not what today is about.
We are here with CJ from Texas. CJ, my very first question is, why did you decide to come here today?
I came here because 184 years ago, at exactly around this time, the 17 Virginians died to secure Texas freedoms. And right now, Virginia freedoms are under attack. And it's important that Texans kind of pay back that favor and make sure that Virginians understand that we're here for them as well. So we brought a big group out of here from Texas, brought a big giant flag. And we just want Virginians to know they're not alone in this fight.
Now, CJ, I'm not sure if you were reading any mainstream news headlines before coming into this rally, but there was rumors of violence and white supremacist groups coming up here. From you actually being here in person, can you just maybe describe the environment? Have you seen any violence, anything at all?
No, I haven't seen. I've seen violence against my liberty because I can't go freely anywhere. But no, it's funny. Northam said there was going to be, and the Democrats said there's going to be all this violence. I got all decked up for nothing. So I'm trying to figure out where is all this violence they were talking about. Obviously, we all knew it wasn't going to be here, but no, this has been the nicest people. I mean, it's great. You accidentally bump into somebody, they apologize, you apologize. You're all like, "Oh no, don't worry about it, man." Everybody's just so friendly. It is true that an armed society is a polite society. Yeah.
My last question for you, CJ. Last week, Governor Ralph Northam, he did declare a state of emergency banning firearms on Capitol grounds. What was your reaction when you saw that state of emergency issued?
So initially, when I thought he had a state of emergency, I thought he had taken too much X-Lax. And he was just running into the Capitol latrine something. And then somebody just misinterpreted what he was saying and issued an order. It turns out he is quite the tyrant anyway, and the diarrhea was coming from his mouth, not the other way. Obviously, it's very angering that you've got a governor that is so willing to violate such a basic human right as self-defense. And I think what you see right here is that Ralph Northam doesn't have the majority he thinks he has. If he pushes these bills, if he signs them into law, this is just the beginning. So, I mean, imagine, this is what's happening just because they're trying to pass these laws. Imagine what's going to happen when he does pass these laws.
If you're unfamiliar with what is happening here in Virginia, you might be asking yourself, how did it get to this point? Well, it all happened in the November 2019 general election that gave Democrats the victory to the State House and the Senate for the first time in 25 years. After the Democrats' victory, Governor Ralph Northam unveiled new gun control measures, including universal background checks and limiting handgun purchases to 1 a month. Since then, over 100 cities and towns across Virginia have declared themselves sanctuary cities to protect the Second Amendment. So I'm actually here with James from Virginia. Now we're actually in the street section of the protest, so protesters could have their firearms. James, my first question to you would be, what was your reaction when Ralph Northam declared a state of emergency, banning firearms from the Capitol grounds?
Well, my first reaction was that I thought it was kind of like, this is bogus. Why? You know, we've always had a peaceful protest here before, and nothing's ever happened. And why now? You know, they want to ban guns for no reason. There's a lot of people here. It's going to happen here or in there. It doesn't matter if it's in or out.
And James, my second question to you be, I'm not sure if you've been reading some of the mainstream news headlines before this march. There was rumors of violence and white supremacist groups. For you now being here in person, have you seen any violence or anything of that sort?
No, everybody's been real nice and actually very nice. You know, polite and courteous. I haven't seen nobody arguing or anything. And I haven't seen nobody really protesting against us. It's been great.
And my last question to you, James, is do you feel that these new gun control measures that are being unveiled by the state Democrats here in Virginia, are they an attack on law-abiding citizens here?
That's the only thing they're against. Law-abiding, it's about taking the guns. That's all it's about. It doesn't affect criminals who won't follow these laws. If they're not going to follow laws, and they know all the facts like we do, they see all the things like we do. What else is this? It's about guns. Taking them guns.
And my very last thing, James, is if you wanted to maybe share any thoughts on the Second Amendment for maybe those back home who couldn't be here today.
Well, my thoughts on the Second Amendment. I like the Second Amendment. It's not about me, personally about guns. I know why it's there, but if we start on one right, it goes to the next and the next and the next. When does it stop? That's it.
Right now we are right outside the Capitol buildings, and here on my left-hand side you can see armed militias protesting with their firearms. These armed militias are not allowed to bring their firearms inside the Capitol buildings. That's why you can see them here. Right here we actually see some walking down right now. And this is due to a state of emergency issued by Governor Ralph Northam. So all the protesters with their firearms will be outside the Capitol buildings, as you see right now. Why did you decide to attend this rally today?
I think it was important for me to come all the way from Miami to Virginia. Same reason that we went to Portland is because this sets a tone for the rest of the country. We're seeing that the Democrats, as soon as they took over the House, as soon as they took over the Senate, they've had the governorship. But as soon as they took that over, they went ahead and abused that power, and they're using it to build these unconstitutional laws and pass them through with flying colors, with no checks and balances. And today we're here to show that we are that check and balance. We are the ones that are going to stand against the tyrannical government of Virginia. And we're going to be here. I mean, I think the estimates were at 110,000 attendees at this location. This is actually the most fun I've ever had at a state of emergency. This is pretty good. I mean, if this is a state of emergency, I want to be at one every weekend.
And then speaking of the state of emergency, Governor Ralph Northam, he did declare a state of emergency last week, so he banned firearms from Capitol grounds. When you heard that news of him banning the firearms on Capitol grounds, what was your reaction?
A lot of people took anger. They became angry with it. I actually smiled because there's this famous quote by Thomas Jefferson that said, "When the people fear their government, there's tyranny," right? And when the government fears their people, there's liberty. That shows that he's fearful of what we, the American people, can and will do in a situation like this. He keeps pushing these people, and this might happen every week until this goes ahead and goes.
An estimated 22,000 were in attendance in Richmond, and local law enforcement reported no major incidents. For the Ventura Report, I'm Jorge Ventura.
This stops here in Virginia and stops now. God bless Virginia and God bless America. Amen.